finance, a la shmup. What is a barometer, in a financial sense? Well, you know what a non-financial barometer is. This thingy tracks the pressure in the air and more or less where the pressure goes, well, so goes the weather. At 30 and change, well, it's likely that the weather is mild and sunny. At 27, you're thinking about Dorothy and her little dog too. I'm melting. All right, well, note that the barometer's readings aren't a guarantee of what the weather actually is or definitely will be. The readings are just a quote, highly likely, unquote, indicator. Well, financial barometers work the same way. Well, you pick one slice of data to then represent a much broader slice that the whole financial world cares about. Like you could sample the performance on a given day of a dozen tech stocks. If all of them went up 2%, well, it's likely that NASDAQ had an awesome up 2% day. How can this kind of barometer be wrong? Well, if the sample size or data mix was poorly selected, then yeah, the barometer could be really wrong. Like, if you only picked as your sample for the barometer 12 small biotech company stocks on a day when the government mandated no taxes for companies in biotech under $100 million in revenue. Well, on that day, it's likely that the very highly weighted in the index large pharma companies actually went down because now they, as high taxpayers, have to compete with schools of small fish who are, tax advantaged against them. So then the index would go down even though those 12 biostocks went up. Got it? So that's the stock market barometer, and there are other barometers like investors doing channel checks with large customers of search engine marketing companies to see how well Google is doing that quarter, like what's their volume. If volumes are really high, Google stock will probably go up the quarter, right? At least it used to be that way. That's a channel check or barometer for likely outcomes of Google's stock price after the announcement of their earnings. Got it? Another barometer, checking on the health of the economy. Well, an investor might cruise through the job listing services on places like Glassdoor or Indeed and note how many listings exist for plumbers, coders, and shrimp deveiners. While other barometers in the financial octagon include things like gross domestic product or GDP per capita. That's a barometer for how well or poorly the economy is swimming along. And things like new housing starts. Yeah, that's a barometer. That's a commonly reported stat, and it functions to give more lines on the barometer dial as they are mashed up with yet more data on things like the current inflation rate and all kinds of other things, including whether or not aliens land from Mars before February. Is that a barometer? Well, it must be a really powerful one.